Zero? Either one. All right. Wherever, get cozy.
He's going to ask me questions.
Yeah.
You guys just came back. You're like, we're interviewing somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the theme of the day.
Yeah.
That'll be the whole day, right?
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Randall Bills. I'm the creative director for Catalyst Game Labs, and I've been working on Battletech for nearly 30 years now. Playing it for almost 40 years. So yeah, that's where all this comes from.
Yeah.
So no, I started back at Fast Corporation back in 1996. Huge shout out to Brian Neistel that hired me and gave me my introduction in the industry. And then I just kind of followed it from company to company to company to where it's been with Catalyst for the last 17 years. And for those that don't know, Battletech's having its like greatest moment in the sun ever.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Absolutely. Well, we've always kind of called it the greatest science fiction universe you've never heard of. We were Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones, and but it's a tabletop miniature game. MechWarrior 2, the MechWarrior series of computer games, back in the day were some of the best-selling computer games ever. But any long-lived game property has ups, has downs.
Right. Yeah.
And in the 10 to 15 years ago, we were definitely in a very low ebb. And we came out with a new series. We re-sculpted all of the battle mech designs, these giant robots that you fight in. Came out with them in new plastics back in 2018. We ran 2 Kickstarters. The last Kickstarter just over a year ago. Cracked into the top 20 Kickstarters of all time.
Wow.
$7.5 million, 25,000 backers.
Holy.
So there's been like 280,000 successful Kickstarters because I love numbers. I love spreadsheets.
Yeah.
I have a database of all that I can look at a glance. Anyone who knows me who might be watching are laughing their head off because that's all I say. So I was working on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's a skill.
It is a skill. So no, we're just having the most glorious moment Battletech's ever had. Everyone's playing it. I'm sitting watching in our booth at the table, and there's guys that managed to play the entire time, right?
Yeah.
They stood there in the darkness with just a couple of pals. There's people that played it 20 years ago and have come back. And then there's this 12-year-old girl at this free-for-all table playing. And last night she had 3 kills.
Oh,
and now she's back at the table, and almost the entire table of adult guys are all trying to gang up on her because they're afraid of her. And it's the most glorious. And she learned how to play just in the last couple of days, right?
It's like the kid you watched last night playing Smash Bros. That was just on stage for an hour.
Exactly. So it's a glorious moment. If you've never heard about it, then Battletech, come on in. If you've heard about it and always wondered, hey, it's never been a better time to dive into this great universe.
That's awesome.
So we got the base game, I think, or the beginning.
Box or the game box?
This one.
Okay.
Game of Armored Combat.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of ways in. So the first one is our beginner box. It's $25, which would be like
That's phenomenal.
34-ish Canadian, something like that. Actually, it is a great value. We try really hard to make sure all of our, particularly the box sets, have some really good value in it.
Yeah.
And it has 2 plastic mechs in it, and it's really designed to dip your toe in it. Right? I've seen Battletech, or, oh my gosh, giant stompy robots look amazing. Do I want to try it? And $25, right? You're in, you're giving it a try. It's kind of a quick start version of the rules.
Okay.
From here, working on the game that you have,
Yes.
which is a game of Armored Combat. This is 60, so about 80-ish Canadian. And this is by far an absolute complete game. You could buy this and play it for a year or 2 without ever doing anything more. We try really hard. We don't want to sucker you into buying more. We believe confident you will buy more.
Yeah.
And if you really want to expand it, you can also paint the minis.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like a whole other branch of it.
No. As with anything in the tabletop miniature space, there's a whole painting side, hobby of that. And one of the things that's really great is I have had brand new painters as well as expert painters, all the way up to, for those that follow him, I got to meet Duncan Rhodes, who's one of the biggest painters in our hobby space at the UK Games Expo. It was just like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And everybody comments about how easy it is to paint these models. Something about the way they're designed, just the material itself, the type
That's a
of plastic.
very good compliment to
Yeah,
the
right?
miniature world.
Exactly. It's just easy and fun, right? I'm like, wow, I don't know if there is a better compliment.
No.
So this is what we kind of call the classic style of play, which is it's more in depth. It's more complex. It has more options you can have at the table. But then we have another version.
This is new to me. I haven't seen this.
So yeah, this one is called Alpha Strike. This is modern style tabletop miniature play.
Okay.
Fast, quick, very analogous to if you're a 40K player, if you're an Age of Sigmar player, if you play War Machine, I play them all. If you play any of them, this is probably the one that's going to feel the easiest to transition into.
Interesting.
Okay. So I'm going to grab the 8 mechs that are in here, and I'm going to play 4 mechs on 4 mechs. You're probably talking 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
And that's without learning the game. So you're going to learn the game.
Okay.
And then you're going to play the game, and it might be 2 or 3 hours.
Gotcha.
This one has 13.
Oh,
So it's 8 mechs versus 5 mechs because the clans are a little more, one of the factions you play, they have more advanced technology. So it's balanced 8 to 5.
Okay.
This one you can play in less than an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's cool because you can either play really quick or it also allows you to go big, right? So how many other miniature games where you have a whole pile of your army that you can't help yourself and you've bought more and more and paid up more and more, but you can never actually put it on the table all at once?
Yeah.
Because that would take forever.
there's too many things.
Exactly. Whereas this, I can easily throw like 60 minis onto a table, 36 minis on a side, and play it in an evening, and we're done.
That's
That's
great.
And the really cool thing about it is I didn't grab it because I only had so much in my arms.
Yeah.
We have a whole line of force packs. They're additional minis.
Yeah.
And the minis are really what power the game. But the minis go to any mix you want, right? So
Yeah.
I grab a force pack and I can play classic. I can play, to be honest, you can even go back to the beginner box and they're like half-size record sheets, we call them.
Yeah.
You just go up online, download all the half record sheets you need.
That's so easy.
And
so nice.
You can play it any which way you want, right? So we try really hard to mix and match and allow you to do it. I think of Battletech as being this like giant ocean, because after 40 years, it's a giant ocean, let me assure you.
Yeah.
But we make it really easy to decide, I just want to be in a little bit, or I want to go up to my waist, or I'm just going to swim out as far as I want. I'll grab source books and novels. There's 150 novels that have been published over the last 40 years.
I didn't know this was
Oh
so
no,
big.
it's
Yeah.
huge, right? It's this infinite, wonderful universe that you can play in multiple eras, multiple technology styles.
Yeah.
It's all there, but again, you're going to look at it and it might intimidate you, and don't let it. You can just start right
Yeah.
here.
That's
But you can
fantastic.
start
Super
so you can
easy.
essentially start really small.
Absolutely.
And by expanding it, you could then almost create your own battles.
Absolutely.
Like you're doing a full
Absolutely.
Warhammer, holy crap.
So one of the really cool things that I'm doing this year is because I've been around just so long. I've kind of become the face of Battletech. It just happens when you're this old, and they couldn't get rid of me. And so I'm actually doing kind of a world tour. Huge shout out to my beautiful wife Tara, who agreed to let me do this year.
Nice.
Because yes, behind every designer, as always, beautiful
patient
beautiful
woman.
cabana or patient man or whatever it might
Yeah.
be, right? But there's a lot of communities, particularly around the world, that never really get to see the people that make these games, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of on a world tour of sorts.
That's super cool. Where's the
And
next?
we actually have a cool patch that I'm giving out. I already shook your hand, so I get to give you a
Oh,
patch.
thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You only can get this patch by shaking my hand.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's a
Because I want
collectible if
to
I've ever
thank
seen
you,
one.
right? I want to thank the fans. We would not be here in this moment having the most glorious moment that this game we love has ever had if it wasn't for these communities all over the world that have made this happen. And so I started 4 weeks ago in Spain. So I did Spain, went up through France, a whole bunch of cool stuff in the UK, up over into Ireland, and I literally flew from Dublin here to the show.
Wow.
And then I'm trailing down through Canada. I'm ending this second leg actually up at Prince Rupert Island.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't gonna go, I was gonna stop at Vancouver, but then the store up there, I happened to do some investigation, and he does a ton of community work and does kids cosplay and SCA stuff, and I'm like, I have to go, right?
That's so
I got to
cool.
go and thank this store, the communities.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're here at this show, absolutely. If not, just go up to catalystgamelabs.com or go on our social media.
Just gonna ask them, where can
You'll
we find it?
you'll find my ugly mug on a graphic that lays out the stores.
You will recognize.
Yeah, well, it's it's
Now you
hard.
know, yeah.
It's hard to miss the neon beard. My kids say they actually like it because they can spot me from 100 yards away in some busy convention. Oh, Dad's right over there.
Defining features. Defining features.
But yeah, so it is. It's just a great time to jump into a game. Really, it's a glorious moment for any type of gamer, right? We are living in the halcyon days of no matter what type of game you love playing, there's a game out there and there's
It's so
community,
wide.
and it's just I know, right? Like I grew up in the 80s when you got pantsed for walking around with a D&D book or a Battletech under my arm, and none of that really happens anymore, right?
Now
It's the norm.
I remember, just to wax a little bit of eloquent of get off my lawn. I remember being in Thor 2 in the theater, and the Hulk is fighting Fenrir on the Rainbow Bridge.
Yes.
And the whole audience is just wrapped and loving it and laughing. And I start laughing so loud. And everyone's kind of staring at me. I'm almost kind of losing it a little because the 17-year-old boy with just a couple of friends doing that weird thing in the corner. And now we're sitting in a theater watching the whole beat up Fenrir, and the whole world is loving it, right?
Yeah.
How is that even
is my life
possible?
right now?
How does this happen?
Where do we make this turn?
Exactly. How did we get here? And then the same thing, right? I get to be over in Spain and walk into awesome store in Madrid, and a whole bunch of Battletech players come out. We have a wonderful evening tossing dice, right? How cool is that? It's fantastic.
So we can find it online and everything.
It's
Is
just-
there
it's-
stores or anywhere?
Battletech,
that's,
Catalyst.
It's catalystgamelabs.com. Yeah, you should be able to find it in any store that you walk into, at least a gamer store.
Right.
But even places like Barnes and Noble carries it.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it's a long product list. You're going to be able to go in short or as far as you want. It's a great time to leap in and have a great time.
The art is beautiful. The box looks great. The
Thank
price
you.
is
Minis are
phenomenal.
cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you pick up anything from Catalyst Games, anything from the Battletech series, and give it a go and let us know what you think. Randall, thank you. Thank you
for
so
being
much.
here.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming to the booth.
Yeah, we really appreciate
fantastic.
it.
You bet.
Awesome.
I got to slide out now.
Yeah.